Ew. Hi. Yes, Athena? Meow. Come here. My cat's trying to find a way up here, but my crutches are in her way. Athena, you know there's like an other side, right? I need to do one more row. But yeah, I redid my crutches because I didn't like everything I had on it, so I'm redoing them. I put alien stickers all over them, and then I crocheted a crutch cover for like where my hands go, and that's green and black. Hi. I crocheted a sweater for my ESSA for like Christmas and the holidays. Hello, Duffel. But yeah, sorry I haven't been live. I had to go to the ER yesterday. And then I went Friday, I think. Either Friday or Saturday, I don't know. But yeah, I haven't been able to go live because I had to go to the hospital. So that was not fun. Hold on, I'm gonna turn the heater off on the thermostat because it is toasty. And I hate the heat. I fixed it. But trying to figure out how I'm gonna do this, because I need to stitch this around this. Hi. Yeah, I like TikTok lives better, but I don't like the TikTok like moderation team. Like I don't like their staff, because their moderation is insane. Because they were like, oh, we think you're under 18, we're going to take away your live privileges. And I'm like, no, I'm not, here's my ID. But they wouldn't let me submit my ID and just closed my appeal and denied it. And I'm like, I have my ID, take it. Yeah, they're weird over there. I need to sew this down. Like that. Because I'm trying to cover this like hazardous yellow going on here. But I can worry about actually sewing it down later. Because I have another crutch I need to worry about. Yeah, this is like the hazardous yellow I'm trying to cover up because it's weird. I don't like that color. It's random. But I can't be complaining because they were like the cheapest crutch covers I could find. But I am going to get new ones. I'm gonna go point my fan over here because it is hot. Toasty. And if it gets too cold, you can only take off so many layers, guys. One crutch done. Now to do the other one. And these are like the stickers that I put on them. Alien. Most of them are alien, some of them are like inclusivity. Like that's a heart out of mobility aids. And then I have all of these. And that's the crutch cover that I made. Literally just like a square with string on it. But Meow. Hi. Hi. I walked into the ER yesterday, and I was wearing these shorts that I'm wearing right now, the alien ones, and then I was wearing like my alien hoodie, and I had my crutches with me, which are like decked out in alien, and the nurse that was taking me in, she was like, so you like aliens? And I'm like, how could you tell? Hi. Sure. I was in Dallas on Saturday, which is just like a massive city in Texas, and it's like a few hours from me. You good, bro? Um, I went to Dallas, and they were like, massive city. I used to live there for like my whole life, but now it's like a few hours to me, and in the entire time that I've had my crutches, I haven't been to Dallas, and I've had my crutches for like 2 or 3 years now. And the entire time that I've had my crutches, I haven't gone to Dallas with them. Um, and I was so shocked at the because now that I've have like the last 3 years or so, I've had like education on different mobility aids and everything, and like why people might want to use them. Yeah, and so I was at Dallas, and I never noticed how many people in Dallas use mobility aids until like last weekend. And it was crazy. I went to about 3 different places in Dallas. I went to Kura, which if you don't know what that is, please look it up. It's a revolving sushi place, and it's super cool. I went to IKEA, and then I went to this massive mall over there. And I genuinely did not know how many people used mobility aids. And people were like complimenting me on my mobility aids. I met 2 other people who had also like decorated their forearm crutches. There was someone who had a back brace. I think it was spinal correction for scoliosis. I couldn't tell exactly. She complimented my crutches, but it threw me off because usually, like in my town, because I'm in a very small town in Texas, people are like, "Oh, I like your canes" instead of like crutches or whatever. Because if you're not from America, forearm crutches aren't aren't the normal. Forearm crutches aren't the norm. So people just assume that they're like some sort of form of cane, I guess. Like, no, whatever works for you. Or like people just like, I like your crutches, like what's wrong with you? Or like what happened? Did you get in an accident? Something like that. But this person was just like, oh, I like your mobility aids and moved on. And I've never like experienced that before until I went to Dallas, and it was insane. Because they were like, oh, I like your mobility aids. And I was like, you actually called them their name. But anyway, that was a crazy experience. I'm good. Thank you. I got this one from one of my friends. This is actually how I met my friend, and it's a really funny story. My Tuesday is going well, I guess. Nothing really special has happened yet. I have my therapy at 4, but that's about it. I go to therapy for a lot of different things. I mostly go for trauma, but I also go for like self-esteem and anxiety, I guess you could say, when it comes to like my disabilities and stuff. But yeah. I am a I'm a child hold on, I can't English today. What the fart? I'm a child abuse and torture advocate, which means I talk about my trauma quite a bit to help spread awareness about it. But yeah, I go to therapy to help get through all that. I woke up probably 30 minutes ago. I woke up at 10. Thank you. Yeah, I woke up at 10 and I started getting like up and around, and I was like, you know what? Why not go live today, guys? Yeah. And I was like, I haven't been able to go live all weekend since I think Thursday was the last time I went live. I'm trying to like Ugh. Crisscross with my boots on. Who is Chris and why is he cross-eyed? I think the last time I went live was Thursday. Wednesday or Thursday. And then I never went live again. I learned how to crochet, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago. It was a while ago, I know that. Goodness. And I started learning from my grandma. Hi! Shout out to Grandma, guys. Hi, how are you? I am good. Mediocre. Nothing happened. You have a question? Go ahead. Yeah. I had a Tic Tac Sunday night, and now like this whole side of my neck is like sore. I am from Texas. So anytime that I like strain my neck, it hurts all down this side of my neck. And I'm surprised that this collarbone isn't like visibly bruised. It is a little up here, but like, yeah. I'm surprised it's not like visibly bruised. Yes, I'm from Texas, and I lived in Texas like my whole life in like the DFW area, and then a few years ago, I had to move like a few hours away because my parents were divorcing, and I like it here, just in the sense that it's a lot quieter, and like it's a lot slower in like a small town, but also like I need things to do. I'm a very sociable person. I need things to do and people to see, so I can't do much in this town. The closest Target to me is an hour and a half away. We are in America. I am crocheting. I am crocheting a cover, I guess you could say, because I'm covering up this like hazardous yellow on my crutches, because I don't like that yellow, so I'm covering it with black. Thank you. Target. That's what my mom calls it, because it's fancy. Do I want to play a game? What kind of game? Both of my Tamagotchi's batteries died. Name 5 countries in Africa? I'm trying to think of like what countries are in Africa versus South America, because when it comes to my geography, I cannot tell you. Ask me to name 5 countries in Asia, and I couldn't tell you. South Africa, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia. One of the republics are over there, I know that. Republic of Congo, I think. No, I think that's in South America, I don't know. I'm not good at geography. And people are like, oh, but that's racist. I'm just not good at geography, guys. I'm not intending to be rude. Pros and cons, yeah. But, yeah, I'm not good at that. Egypt is also in Africa, by the way. So that's 4. I do have anxiety and PTSD, yes. I have generalized anxiety disorder and complex PTSD. Which I just realized you can get diagnosed with PTSD and CPTSD at the same time. Which I realized recently, and I didn't know that. Because you can get diagnosed with PTSD and CPTSD depending on different situations. I love Asian food. And I'm not talking about like, ooh, I love ramen. No, I love like all Asian food. Chow mein, pho, curry, which yes, Indian food is Asian. Ooh. Do you think anxiety is a feature or a bug? Huh? I think anxiety is just, I don't know, it's just another one of those things. I mean, it is still part of you. I hate the people, like, I hate the people that are like, oh, see, like, the person, not the disability. The disability is a part of the person. So you're gonna have to see both. Because seeing, like, the... What's the phrase? Seeing the ability, not the disability. You have to see both to see the person. Because if you see the ability and not the disability, then that's going to come with a lot of accommodation issues and accessibility issues. And I'm like, hey, so as much as I would love for you to see what I can do. I also can't walk, and that's going to be a part of me for a while. I think disabilities are like feature, I guess. If this phone is dead, I'm gonna cry. It's dead. Wonderful. I was gonna send this live to my mom. Can't walk since when? So the journey of how we got here, for me needing to get crutches. About 5 or 6 years ago, I started like experiencing a lot of really bad symptoms of a lot of different things. And so I ended up needing, so originally, we're going to talk about only my walking. We're not going to talk about anything else that showed up 5 years ago. Only my walking, it started to get like somewhat bad pain during like winter or when it's raining because of atmospheric pressure or barometric pressure, if you know those big words. Basically, if you don't know, during certain events in like the Earth's climate and like weather and stuff, the pressure in the air will start to get more and more pressurized, or like the pressure will increase, causing certain people with like arthritis or hypermobile, like different types of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or like POTS, like chronic conditions like that will get worse when it's about to rain, when it's raining, when there's like winter, spring, like that stuff, which is also why you shouldn't ignore your grandparents or your loved ones when they say, oh, I think it's about to storm, my knees are hurting. That's an actual thing. But anyway, may they be a little insane? Yes, but it's an actual thing that happens. So that's when it started hurting. And then a year after my leg started hurting, it started getting worse and worse. Like I would have a little bit of pain all of the time, but not like bad enough to actually need assistance. And then over time, it would just get worse and worse and worse and worse until about 2 years ago when we moved. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago when we moved here. My mom finally decided, she was like, okay, I'm going to take you to a hospital to see what the heck is going on. And she took me to an orthopedic surgeon around where I live, and he was really weird. Did he give me the right diagnosis? Yes, I found out later, because I went to go see another doctor and he said the same thing. But the way that he said it was really weird. I was telling him all of my issues. I was telling him how the pain started years ago, like blah, blah, blah. And he was like, oh, like he took an x-ray, he felt around my knee, like he did all that. He couldn't find anything in my x-ray, and he was like, I'm going to give you a diagnosis of J-tracking patella and leave it at that. Which, if you don't know, J-tracking patella is where the bone of your kneecap doesn't stay in place where it should. It basically shifts like a joystick anywhere else but where it should go. So visually, when you look at how a knee moves, your knee will go like up and down. Obviously, it'll like curve a little bit, but bear with me, it'll go up and down. My knee, when I bend my knee, it will go up and then down this way, forming a little bit of a J. And that's not supposed to happen, which means that basically my kneecap doesn't have enough support around it to stay in place where it should be, which is great. Love that. Thank you. But he said it really weird when he diagnosed me with it. He was like, I'm going to diagnose you with J-tracking patella because that's what teenage girls have. And I'm like, that's suspicious. So you don't find an issue, and you're saying that you're going to diagnose me with this just because it's what everyone else has. Strange. He was like, yeah, it's really common in teenage girls. And he gave me like a slip, like a like a packet of paper, and he's like, go do these physical therapy things on home, like at your own time. And I was like, okay, but anytime I work out, my knees hurt worse, which I found out was another issue that we'll get to. So when I work out, my knees hurt worse. And he was like, well, some girls just don't know what being sore feels like. He said this in front of my mother, who is a bodybuilder, and visibly looks like one. Some girls just don't know what sore feels like. I work out. Right? This isn't sore. It's not a sore feeling. My mom works out, and she's right there. She's about to sock you in the face. And so me and my mom were like, we're not listening to that doctor. We're going to go see a new one. And so I went to go see I went to a physical therapy place to actually go be seen by a proper person. And he was like, I told him my experience with the last doctor and what he said. And he was like, you do have day-tracking patella, but you also have chronic patella tendinitis. If you don't know what tendinitis is, it's where your tendons are severely inflamed or swollen, usually because of something like exercise or an athletic injury or something like that. And the chronic part of it is just a tendinitis that lasts 3 months or more. And my tendinitis lasts 5 years, which means that because I've had it for 5 years and nobody knew, I probably can't get healed or recover from that tendinitis. And so he was like, yeah, you definitely should have gone to see a doctor sooner. And he asked me, like, if I've ever been an athlete, if I've ever, like, got into an accident with both of my knees. And I was like, no, I was never in a sport. I never gotten into any accidents or anything regarding both of my knees. I did scrape up one of my knees, but I don't think it would be bad enough to cause this much issue. And because I fell off with my bike, like, when I was 10, maybe. And so he was like, well, I don't know what could be causing this. You need to go see Scottish Rite in Frisco. Frisco is hours away from me. So me and my mom were like, we're going to put off going to Scottish Rite. We still haven't gone to it. Yeah, tendinitis sucks. But because it was chronic and lasts so long, I kind of just got used to it and started thugging it out. And my physical therapist was like, you definitely should have seen a doctor because now we don't know if we can actually help you or have you recover from your tendinitis. It's probably going to stick with you the rest of your life. And I'm like, wonderful. And he was like, you need to go to Scottish Rite in Frisco, which is a children's hospital. And they do a lot of, like, pediatric stuff. They have rheumatologists and, like all the fancy stuff. And I heard they're really good over there, but me and my mom wanted to put it off because it's hours away and my mom has work and everything. And so I'm gonna talk about ice in a minute. Like cold on my knees. I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. So we ended up just not going to Scottish Rite. We still have a referral for it. Like the referral is still there, and it lasts until like middle of 2026. So we are going to go eventually. We just want to put it off as much as we can. I think we're going to go in like January, February of next year after the holidays. But anyway, we went to, yes, my mom wanted to punch him in the face because he was like, oh, girls don't know what sore feels like. Y'all don't work out enough. To my mom, who is a bodybuilder and actually looks like one sitting right in front of him. And my mom was like, because he genuinely told me to work out more after I told him working out made it worse. Anyway, so I stopped seeing him, went to my physical therapist. He gave me all my issues and he was like, you need to go over here. Me and my mom were like, we're not going to go hours away. Like, we've managed fine the last few years, it's probably nothing. So we ended up going to a local doctor, a local person, and he was like, you have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and juvenile arthritis, which I do need to get that juvenile arthritis reassessed, because I still have symptoms of arthritis, but I'm not a juvenile anymore, because juvenile arthritis is a type of arthritis that affects people, I think, 16 and younger. I'm not 16 anymore. So I need to go get that reassessed and re-diagnosed. But, yeah, they were like, you have these two things. And so my, by the way, hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is I think it's it's a genetic disorder where you don't have enough nutrients transferred to your connective tissue throughout your body, causing basically being double jointed, quote unquote, everywhere, which can cause a lot of issues, including fatigue, chronic pain. It can cause certain types of arthritis. It can cause tendinitis. So we figured out what happened. We figured out what happened. Basically, my HEDS was causing my J-tracking patella because my patella wasn't staying in place properly because of the connective tissue. And so my patella tendinitis, or not my J-tracking patella, caused my tendinitis. But because I have arthritis from my HEDS, the arthritis made the tendinitis worse, making it chronic. And basically, even if it weren't chronic, if we were to get treated and recovered for it, it would eventually come back anyway. So I'm fucked. He was in shape himself. He was more of like he was like an alpha male podcaster, the way he carried himself. He was in shape, but it was like really weird how he was, and like his whole vibe was just alpha male podcaster. Like, oh, women don't do enough, women don't work out, like blah blah blah. And it was really weird. That guy was weird, entirely unprofessional. He had an attitude like Mafia Gorilla. Interesting name. Anyway. Yeah, a couple years ago, my legs were at their worst. I couldn't walk, I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't do anything. And I was like sobbing and basically bedrotting for a whole month. And then one of my really close friends, he sent me crutches and everything that I needed for them, because I had a cane at the time, but the reason why I was basically just bedrotting for a month was because I was so depressed at the fact that my cane didn't do anything for me, because I didn't know at the time that a cane wasn't like matching my needs. I didn't know that at the time because I had no research for anything, and I was so depressed that my cane wasn't doing anything. Like, it wasn't supporting both of my legs like I needed to. It wasn't actually lifting any weight off of me. Or at least it wasn't lifting enough weight off of me that I needed. And so my friend sent me forearm crutches because they were also, like, very educated in, like, mobility aids and disabilities and stuff. And so he sent me forearm crutches. He sent me crutch covers for them. And then he sent me, like, this little bag that you can hang off of your crutches to put like medicine and stuff in, and that changed my life for the better in like so many ways, because I could get out of bed, I could actually go around and do things, and I could be more active. Like before I got my crutches and before I started bedrotting for a month, I still used my cane almost all the time, but it still didn't do enough for me. To the point that I would, like, avoid going out at all. But my crutches have helped me so much. So I ended up doing that. Yeah, got my crutches. I learned how to use them. So I've had my crutches for a couple of years now. But I don't use the gait that I'm supposed to be using. I use what's called a walking gait, which is basically where you put your crutches, place them in front of you, and then just walk with them. So you put your weight on the crutches as you walk. But I'm supposed to do what's called a hopping gait. I do what's called a hopping gait, which is, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Basically, it's just placing your crutches down and, like, hopping with them, so that way you don't put so much weight on your legs at all. But I don't do that, even though I'm supposed to. Because my physical therapist was like, yeah, you're supposed to be using a hopping gait, not a walking gait. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm confident in my ability to stay balanced enough to do that. And he was like, well, you can always just practice. I haven't been practicing, guys. Please don't tell my physical therapist. Yeah, so which we also found out why working out makes my knees hurt worse. With the J-tracking patella, you're not supposed to bend your knees too much, because that can make your tendonitis and basically just your whole leg worse, because it's basically pushing against bone and tendon and muscle. So things like walking upstairs, walking downstairs, running, doing lunges, doing squats, like bending down to do something, sitting on your knees, like things like that. Please do. He was like he was like this big, like, he wasn't big, but he was like hefty in like a Dr. Mike kind of way, if that makes sense. Like, he was still like pretty skinny, but he had muscle on him. And his like shirt was really tight to him, like it didn't fit properly. It was like a size too small or something. And he was like, he had like this like frat boy haircut, like, I don't know, like a guard 16, if you've ever seen that. And it was like, it was so weird. It was so weird. Hi. But anyway, we found out what all of my issues were. When I went to go get assessed for my J-track and patella tendonitis, before I even knew I had ATDS and arthritis, because I had my crutches with me, and the person that was assessing me, he was a physical therapist, but he was something else. I think an orthopedic doctor or something. I don't know. I could not, even if I tried. He talked. Just imagine, like, Woody Harrelson, but gayer. Imagine that. And that was how he talked. But yeah, the person that was assessing me, before I even knew I had ATDS or any of that, he was like, and she was like, oh, how are you using your crutches right now? Like, how often do you use them? And I'm like, I just use them anytime my knees hurt too bad to walk. And she was like, okay, so after, like, reviewing you and your symptoms and, like, your pain level and everything, I think you just need to be using them pretty much all the time. Like, you shouldn't be walking unassisted with tendonitis, because it can make your tendonitis worse, or it can make your tendonitis flare up. She's like, you shouldn't be walking unassisted at all. And I was like, oh, wonderful, which was a very big relief for me because when I got my crutches, it was before a doctor told me I needed them. Even though I personally knew I needed them because I couldn't get out of bed, but like it still felt weird using them without a doctor telling me I needed them. And so having like a doctor or like a physical therapist tell me directly like, "Hey, you need these," was really freaking relieving. Because I was worried that like that the doctor would be like, "Oh, you're babying yourself. You need to like just thug it out." I was worried that's what the doctor was going to say going into it, but to hear them say, "Oh, you need this. Please keep using it." Oh my god, it was like a big weight lifted. I have not seen anger management. Hi. Guess what? Thank you. You have a question? What's the question? I only moderate people I know IRL. Yeah. My cat's trying to get in. I feel like Woody Harrelson but gayer is just Owen Wilson. Where am I from? I'm from Texas. America. What? Hi. Ow. What do I do? For work? Huh? Why aren't you going to school tomorrow? Ow. What's the question? Oh, hold on. What's my favorite type of movie or series? I like adventure comedy. So like if it's along the like Marvel pipeline where it's like adventure comedy where there's like a lot of serious aspects, like that's the type of movies that I like. What's the question? What do you think about Indonesia? I don't know anything about Indonesia. I'm gonna be so honest. So I don't have anything against Indonesia. I don't know anything about a lot of places. I'm gonna go make food. I'm hungry. Oh, hello. I think I pulled a muscle in my leg. I think I pulled a muscle in my leg. What? Calm down. Okay. Also, I completely forgot that Jonathan was here. This guy was barking last night. Well. Oh, dear God.
Sky.
Hi, bird boy.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told her to go lay down. I started jumping on the couch and lay down.
Sky. Calm. Calm.
I want McDonald's breakfast.
Yeah. You're hungry too, huh? I know you are. I'm gonna give you a hug. I'm gonna give you a hug. I'm gonna give you a hug.
Ow, 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 ow.